Powered up and stripped down, Supergirl's new look revealed more than just her superpowers.
From some of the older fans, we got reactions of, oh my God, why are you putting her in such skimpy clothing? And I would just go, look at any high school, look at what the kids are wearing. We're actually covering her up a lot.
How she was designed was really based upon what was happening in pop culture at the time and styles and sensibilities of the girls at that moment.
We're trying to show a positive role model. She can dress as they want and still be strong for herself. She's not anybody's toy or tramp or anything.
If you look at today, as women can be strong and sexy, and they don't have to apologize for it.
Comics are going to reflect what the audience wants. It's the same as television, it's the same as movies, the same as video games.
The question of sexuality always comes up in regards to the female characters. I'd argue that there's a question of sexuality with the male characters too. Everybody is idealized in regards to the portrayal of heroes. We over-exaggerate the muscles on the heroes to the sexuality of the female characters.
I'm not making excuses for this, but this is a visual medium. And visually, we have to have things that pop up off the page. That's not to say that we should have, you know, constant penthouse poses with no thought behind them and one-dimensional characters that are all the same with each other and all the same body shape, men or women.
Nobody ever says, look at those guys. Guys don't look like that. You know, definitely no comic reader looks the way Superman or Batman does. So why shouldn't Supergirl be as idealized as well?
Superheroes are the Greek gods of our day. I mean, that's what they are. That's why they're idealized versions of ourselves. So, you know, of course they're going to be good looking.
Kara Kent! I think she should be sexy, but the big question is she should be aware of her sexual powers, and should she use them, like to seduce, to tantalize. Again, I'm coming back to Superman, he never does.
You are my hero. Call my cell when you're done, and I'll be here in a blink. Sexuality in a female superhero is not necessary or important to be a superhero. That's one of the things that I always want to point out, especially to the young female viewers.
From a woman's perspective, we're just bouncing back and forth. We have like the overly virtuous, we have the overly sexual. How do you integrate both and have it still be meaningful?
I don't think anybody would be interested in a superhero sex life. Also, it opens a lot of cans.
Although the modern Supergirl is more powerful than ever before, she remains a young girl trying to find her place in the world. Kara creates an identifiable connection for young women everywhere, fulfilling her unique role in the DC Universe.
When we brought Supergirl back, we want to make sure of a couple of things. That she is much more on a learning curve than Superman is. Superman's already established in his role as a hero. He knows how to act and behave in every situation. But she, being a new hero, doesn't. So there's a learning curve. And things that she has to experience on her own and things that she has to pick up from her other characters is something that we want to explore.
Zor-El told me that the yellow sun would give me abilities beyond my wildest dreams, but he definitely never mentioned any fatal weaknesses.
It's because he didn't know. The green rocks, they're called kryptonite.
It was always through the lens of a girl who falls for the wrong guy, a girl who makes the wrong friends, a girl who thinks she knows everything and then finds out she's wrong. You know, it was always coming from her character first as this young adult trying to make her way in the world.
We've gotten her to a point where she can finally confront Superman and say, I don't want to answer to you, I don't want to worry about screwing up and having you wave your finger, and Superman going, that's in your head. I'm not your father, I'm your cousin. We're on equal footing here, which is certainly a difference from the way the original Supergirl was portrayed.
I was never happy about Kara going into the family business, but now that she's decided it's what she wants to do, I've tried to step back and let her develop into her own person. I didn't want her living in the shadow of being Superman's cousin.
Because you're Superman's cousin, you're being thrust with that weight of like, but you have to be this person, you have to be this hero, which is so unfair to anybody.
I think when you have any kind of emblem, whether it's an S or the letter A or any kind of thing, that's a difficult thing to live up to.
Over the years, she has become more independent. She has stepped out of her cousin's shadow. She's more interesting. And I think it reflects the evolution of women in our society, too.
In 2007, the most confident and powerful version of Supergirl to date debuted on Smallville. The Kryptonian cousin launched into live-action television, shaking up Clark's world and making her presence known.
Guess the humans are right, Kal-El. Girls do mature faster than boys.
Season 7 seemed like a good time to bring in Supergirl because it allowed us to explore Clark's Kryptonian heritage.
I will tell you everything you ever wanted to know about the incredible Lara L. in the morning. Get some sleep, okay?
They've made her very contemporary. You know, she speaks the lingo, kind of that casual ease, sort of took the, maybe the more two-dimensional aspects out. They're making her very real, very companionable.
She's a young teenager. She's a little rebellious, and she thinks she can just flash her powers around and it's fine.
These doors would have opened if you'd have just waited.
We don't have time to wait for ancient technology. But Clark is kind of a little more subdued in that sense. He's trying to teach her to just, you know, hold it back a bit.
There's a chemistry between them, but more like a brother-sister kind of thing.
She loves him. It's her cousin, you know. There's always been a love there for him. They just, like any brother and sister, fight. Guess this family reunion is over.
She was actually older than Clark, and so I think that's the other thing that colors her interpretation of Clark is she remembers him as a baby. So in her mind, she's the older cousin and he's the younger cousin, you know, and she was sent to protect him. So it's sort of a weird role reversal for her as well.
It's all about control, which you don't have.
Get back to me when you can fly, Earth Boy. Has anyone ever told you you're a little uptight? You definitely get that from your father.
We've already got a Superman, you know, who's squeaky clean, so you've got to have somebody else who can challenge him, give you some real friction. The spicier, the better, and I'm glad to see that that's the direction they took her in.
Why do you care?
You're my cousin, Kara. I care about you.
Well, family believes in one another. And you betrayed me. You'd rather talk to anyone else but me.
They have the same powers, pretty much. The same kind of costume, pretty much. And I think
same sort of backstory, pretty much.
Same backstory, pretty much. And the only thing that can set them apart are their attitudes.
Watch and learn.
She knows what she wants and she goes after it. And I mean, I look up to her in that sense, and that she's not afraid to back down. When she knows something is right and honorable, she'll go after it.
What they've done in Smallville is very interesting, is that instead of being a girl who always has to be told you can, who has to be proven, she comes here already saying, I can. And there's a reversal of roles in a way. She is doing to Clark what most men used to do to women. And that's interesting and right, but you couldn't have done that 25 years ago.
I think it's great that after 50 years, Supergirl is still a girl.
What Supergirl does is that she portrays a character who's able to step out from the shadow of the character who she's based on.
Supergirl is a powerful enough character that she's touched people's lives. And it's very cool to see.
I think there's a reason you gravitate towards Supergirl. Like, you want to see a young character living their life.
Regardless of what costume she wears or how she may look, she stands for a particular ideal, and more importantly, it's an ideal that most people can relate to and hopefully will continue to relate to.
She does the best she can. That's about everything a role model can do.
She stands for what all women should, which is that you can be your own woman and you don't need anybody, and you can be strong and defend yourself and be intelligent and still kick ass.
This is an amazing challenge, to be this kind of person, to be as selfless as Superman has turned out to be. It's really a remarkable set of choices as a character.
Supergirl has come a long way since her Wallflower days, proving herself in a Superman's world. Strong, sexy, and fiercely independent, she has become a role model and a true hero for generations of fans. She is Kara Zor-El, a real Supergirl.